Okay, you guys need to listen up. Everyone, I know there's a couple of you not paying attention. This is a big deal. Servicing your trailer bearings. You don't want to end up like this.
Yeah.
There's a bad situation. Before you know it, you're stranded on the side of the road. You have your four-wheeler, your quad, dirt bike, snowmobiles, boat, any of your toys stuck. It's hard to get them back home. The worst case would be right here, where you have to get it towed home on a flatbed tow truck. Now that's not cheap. So listen up while I teach you how to service your trailer bearings. Very important to do this. Okay, the first step is to support the axle and block the opposite wheel. This is a very big step. If you mess this up, trailer slips off the jack and you're going to do more damage than good here. So take your time, do a good job supporting the axle. Some axles have a special spot just for the jack, other axles don't. Okay, once you get the trailer tire off, inspect it. This tire right here indicates that grease has been leaking through the seal or the hub, or it was over greased. You can see more evidence of this over here on the hub and the axle. Time to remove the grease cap. Find yourself a decent flat tip screwdriver. Be very careful, work your way around the hub to try to pry it off. I lightly tap with a hammer. Don't tap so hard that you dent it. There's just a little lip there. You have to kind of work at that lip. Sometimes removing the grease cap can be a little bit of work, especially if your trailer has been submerged in water or the grease cap hasn't been removed in a long time. Worst case, you might have to hit the grease cap on the side with a hammer and actually destroy it. This will require purchasing a new grease cap. You can get special grease caps that are supposed to help pressurize the grease. From what I've learned, this is not necessary. It only costs you more money and can possibly cause even more problems. They're called grease buddies. It's up to you whether or not you want to get one. Everybody has their own opinion. Cap has been removed. I'll be cleaning that out in a minute. Now I'm going to wipe the castle nut off and the axle. My goal here is to see how where the cotter pin is and how it is located and how I will go about bending it. I've located the cotter pin. It's a special kind of cotter pin. It's a two-spot, it has a slot in it, and you just bend one slot back. There's a flat spot on the axle. So you can see this closer here. There's two slots there. You bend one back, all right, into the flat spot of the axle. Now you can loosen the castle nut. Once the castle nut is removed, the axle hub can slide right off. Sometimes the bearings will fall out with the hub. Careful not to lose the pin in the washer. There's the first bearing right there. The outer wheel bearing. And the inner wheel bearing is still in the hub. Time to clean the axle off. Try to remove all the old grease. Some people use a degreaser on this. I probably would not polish it with a grinder or anything like that. Just wipe it off with a cloth. Okay, time to remove the inner wheel bearing. I'm just using a block of wood. A round dowel or broom handle works better than a rectangular piece of wood, but this works as well. My goal here is to remove the seal and the axle at the same time, axle bearing at the same time. I'm working my way around so I don't force it. Checking to see if I'm making any progress. It's important to use two pieces of wood so you don't damage it on a hard metal work surface. Okay, so now the old bearing and seal have been removed. And you'll see the inside where that went. And there's the old seal. Real important to replace the seals. A lot of times you can clean the bearings, and if they're in good shape, you won't have to purchase new ones. New bearings run around $40 to $70 depending on the size of your trailer. My goal with this is to not have to buy new bearings, just new seals. I replace the seals every time. I think I paid $4 a seal. Okay, let's take a look at these parts. They've all been cleaned with a cloth, and some people use degreaser or gasoline. If you use gasoline, you don't really need to leave them in there that long. Okay, this is our washer. This is our outer bearing. This is basically our cotter pin. This is our castle nut. This is our inner wheel bearing. And this is our inner seal. The inner seal is always replaced. That one here is brand new. Alright, now we're looking at the races. The races can be removed and replaced. However, these races are in pretty good shape. At the very bottom there's a little bit of wear. But if you service your bearings often, like I'm doing here today, you'll never have to replace your races. The races can be popped out. Not quite as easy to get out as the bearings, but they can be popped out and replaced. Sometimes you have to replace the whole axle hub. There's a little wear right there at the bottom. If there's big scratches in them or lots of wear, they will need to be replaced. Alright, so here's some marine grease. I'm going to use a high quality grease. Don't chimp on this. You're going to put some grease in the palm of your hand. You're going to press the bearing into the grease. And you work your way around. Keep adding grease and keep pressing it in. Eventually, any used old grease will start to come out the top part of the bearing. This would be typical as it's very hard to clean the bearing completely. So you keep working this in. It takes about 3-4 minutes to really do a good job. This is called packing the bearings. Now I'm going to grease the inside of the hub and the races. Lots of people have different thoughts and theories about how much grease to put in here. Some people say to pack it all the way full. Some people say if you get it too full, it actually overheats and then will start to leak out anyway. I'm just packing the bearings. I'm going to add some to the hub, but I'm not going to pack it all the way. Now I just seated the bearing and added just a little bit more grease. I'm getting ready to put on the inner seal. That was the inner bearing, and this will be the inner seal. I try to position it as flat as possible. Now I'm going to take a hammer and a block of wood and work my way around. And my goal here is to gently insert the seal. This seal is pretty thin and I could easily wreck it if I'm not careful. So I'm just kind of working my way around the block of wood, trying to be gentle with it. It's going to be a tight fit because you don't want the bearing to leak, or the seal to leak. If you think about it for a second, we put these bearings through a lot of tough conditions. We might drive, 100 miles and then dump our trailer with our bearings right in a really cold lake to drop off our boat. So bearings are put through a pretty tough environment. Now I'm going to add a little grease to my lug nuts. This will try to help my so the lug nuts don't seize up. You'll see some rust on there. It kind of helps create um, help prevent the rust from getting worse or bonding to the rim of the tire. So I just take a minute and do that. Alright, now plenty of marine grease has been added to the axle spindle. Just trying to make sure there's plenty of grease on there where the seal and the bearings are going to seat. Now I'm sliding the hub on. Should go on without a lot of problem. Installing the pin and the washer and the outer bearing and the castle nut. Inner bearing was already in there, but the outer bearing I just had to slide on. Wearing some gloves so don't have to clean grease off my hands for a couple of days. It's a waterproof grease, so pretty hard to get off your hands. This way I can just pitch the gloves. Okay, now I'm going to take a wrench, and my goal here is to snug this up, but not extremely tight. It should be able to move kind of easily, and then I just back that nut up just a tiny bit. I should be able to grab that axle or the hub, and it shouldn't wobble back and forth, from this picture left to right. It should, be snug, but not so tight that, it doesn't move. Now I'm going to put in the cap. Cap's going to go on here. There's actually a rubber piece that I don't put on, but there's going to be a rubber piece on the end that holds it. These are greasable bearings, so that rubber piece just keeps dirt out of there. You can pull that out to grease it. So I'm just going to grab a block of wood again, try to make this so I don't dent my cap here. I service my trailer bearings every couple seasons on my boat. It's good to do it every year probably, but I don't quite do it every year. Um, my other trailers, it really depends how much you drive or how much they sit around. A lot of people service their trailers every year, or maybe just a little bit sooner than that, depending on if you're driving it every day. Everybody's kind of has their own opinion on how often they should be serviced. I usually kind of look for oil or grease coming out through the back, and I know that seal's bad. Especially on boats, it's a pretty tough environment for your trailer, or if they're sitting outside in the snow and the rain all the time. So I'm just going to toss the tire back on. I'm going to tighten my lug nuts in a star pattern, and I'm going to even use a torque wrench on my lug nuts so I can get it to the right torque. I don't want any chance that my tire will loosen up and fall off going down the freeway. It's not a bad idea to check your lug nuts after they say like 25 miles of driving, but I guess that's up to you. Okay, this is just a quick reminder to grease your bearings to the grease zerk at the end of the axle during use. So right there on the left side, there's a grease zerk at the very end of the axle spindle, and I'm gonna just grease that occasionally. And that's it. Here we are, just a little video of me enjoying the sunny day with my kiddo in the tractor. She's out for a tractor ride, and she's gonna wave goodbye to end this video. So hopefully you've learned how to grease your trailer bearings, and maybe you can go home and do that tonight.